Okay, so I mentioned putting a video up for a coil build on a UDA. It's a very tiny RDA. I currently have it on my Smoktech Groove 2. Awesome step up from my Ego battery. Thanks, Cynthia. Anyway, so this is currently what's in here, and I will kind of see how that goes. So I'm going to take this out and then show you from start to finish, putting the coil together, putting the wicking in it. If you can build something this small, or build on something this small, I should say, you can probably build anything. Mind you, my experience is limited to this, so that's a bit of an assumption, but anyways, let me figure out how to set the camera up. Oh, back here we have all the things you'll need. This is the airflow top cap and drip tip for the UDA. Obviously, RDAs have their own pieces. Cotton for the wick. This is 28 gauge Kenthal right here. Focus in, maybe. I have actually a jig I'm using that was put together by Cynthia specifically for this. This is the equivalent of 20 gauge syringe needle. Not sure what that equates to in millimeters, but is that. I have my super small screwdriver that I use to move the coil around and to wick it and help wick. And yeah, let me get the camera set up and I'll go ahead and put this together. Okay, I have no idea how well this is going to work, but I don't exactly have a setup for the camera, so hopefully this works out well. I like the jig in this case because I can secure one end of the wire while I'm working. You can do it freehand, and I do know that there are pre-made jigs out there. So you tighten down one of the wires so that it holds still, and we're going to start by keeping everything as close as you can. You don't want to overlap because that could short it out, and that would be bad. In a regulated device, it'll simply report a short and not fire. In an unregulated, like a mech mod, if you short it out, that could just have really bad results. So we're gonna go. The other nice thing about having a jig is the fact that you can take a small tool, screw or whatever, and push this back together if you get out a little ways. Because you want to keep them nice and tight and close together. Let's see, 2, 5, 6. I'm shooting for 9 wraps here. 7, 8. Squish that down. Now, one thing that I've learned, a little trick, is if you take a pair of needle nose pliers, that's not the right one, needle nose pliers here, and you grab this and you pull and really snug that down with it condensed, it'll help it stay together better, because it just tightens everything up. I have not annealed the wire with the blowtorch, so it's particularly stringy. I don't have a torch, which is about the only reason I haven't used it. Get that final wrap in like this, tight. I'm just using my fingernail to push the coil together and the wire together down here, and I'm going to leverage it and pull it nice and tight, and that'll help everything stay pretty close and tight in to start with. I'm going to take this off the jig here, and there's that part of it. There's the coil. Let me see if I can get this thing to focus on it. And there's the start of it. Okay, so what I did is I took the old coil off the UDA and wiped it all down. Took it off the box for now. What we're going to do is, if you notice you have one lead longer than the other, just makes it easier to get it in the posts. It's still a little springy, so you have to hold onto it. I found that if you take whatever post you're using, whether it's a screwdriver, drill bit, cement needle, doesn't really matter, put it back in like this, it just makes it easier to control and adjust, especially when you get it on the posts. So we're going to go ahead and get these in here like so. Alright, so you want to make sure that see, they're separating a little bit. Where's my tweezers here? I'm going to take and give just a little crimp here and there, and I'll be doing this again here in a minute once I fire it, just because it'll be easier to move around once they're all heated up. And you want to make this and make sure you look really closely at it. Looks like I need to actually make a slight adjustment here, maybe. On that first wire, I'm going to pull this guy out. There we go. Make sure that nothing is crossed up at all. And this is a really small working surface, which is part of why I said, you know, if you can build on something this small, you can build on just about anything. I know a lot of people start out with some people start with the micro coil, some start out with the get in there, the larger coil builds, just because it's bigger, it's easier to work with. Personally, I like starting out with the challenging, so this is actually a nano coil, and I believe I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure I've got it down. Anyways, so you don't want it to touch. Obviously, you don't want the coils to touch the posts, but you also don't want it to touch the outside. So you want the coil to sit right in here. I'm hoping that this thing focuses right, and you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to keep it about midway between the post and the edge of the deck here. If it slides in, that's not good. So we're going to find it right about there. And I notice I still have these on here even after, like, I'm tightening the post down right now. And these are just finger tightening. Some of them have Phillips heads, some have star keys. Way out of whack. So we're going to take and push this over this way, like so. Anyways, and I'm going to put these straight up for right now, because what I'm going to do, and I know that not all RDAs have so many different pieces. It's a bit tilted, but we'll fix that in a second. But I want to take the airflow cap here, and I want to make sure that I can put it on and have it fit, and make sure that that coil, I don't know if you can see that or not, I'm guessing probably not, but anyways, make sure the coil is not touching the side walls, because that'll short out the coil. So let's put this back in here for maneuvering, and make sure that these are nice and tight. They're close enough together you can do the basic tightening, like together, just roll over both of them, but you want to make sure you get on an individual each one. And we're going to twist this so that it flattens out perfectly straight. You want to leave room for the wicking, so you don't really want to twist it or kilt it either way. Also, don't move it around too much. You don't want it to be too loose in the posts. So, alright, so we're good here. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check for hot spots, make sure that the coil is heating up properly. And let's get these out of the way here. Smaller ones, fingernail clippers work better, but you know, they say the best tool is the one you have. So I have nail clippers somewhere around this place, I just have no idea where they're at. So they're in as close as they can and as short as they can, because you don't want them to touch the wall and short out your device, which can be a very expensive oops in some cases. So I'm gonna squish this back against the post a little bit, double check, still looks good on the distance. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and put this back on here. One thing, this does not have an adjustable 510 connection in here, it's just a solid. And when I first got this, I couldn't figure out why it wouldn't fire. And it also was not set up for ego, as far as the ego threads, as far as your tanks, like your BCCs and things like that. It's got the channel for it, it just wasn't working out very well. So I got hooked up with an adapter, thanks Jeremy. Anyways, this post is actually not long enough. You always want to make sure that you check your posts. If they're adjustable, that's the best. If not, check them. Make sure, because this one, you can kind of see this is longer. This one was not reaching down and connecting. So of course, it just read and opened and it wouldn't fire. So put the adapter on. We're going to put this in here, like so. And screw that down. Alright, so I actually have this cranked as high as it'll go, 15 watts, which is fine for beginners like me. And we are going to... Alright, so that just kind of glows all at once, which is not really what you're looking for. You want it to glow from the middle first. So we're going to tighten this down a little bit. And there we go, that's a little bit better. Much better, okay. So, hopefully you can see it on the video, how it glows. I can't actually see the screen the way I've got my phone set up to record this, so I'm really hoping this turns out. Anyways, but there is the nano coil on a UDA, which is tiny RDA. I'm going to set that right there. Hopefully it still shows up okay. And I'm going to take my organic cotton here. And I already got relatively what I think I need. That might be a little bit heavy in here, so I'm going to take a little bit out. These started life as cotton balls. It's organic cotton, but they still do cotton balls. Buy giant bags of them. Or, in my case, get hooked up by really good friends. So, I'm going to twist it. If you've ever had a sewing class, this will be very, very familiar. If you haven't, well, you know, this will help you if you ever have to mend anything. You twist it down as tight as you can get it to start with. It'll unravel, which is fine, but you want it nice and tapered off. And we're going to take, and we're just going to basically thread a very thick needle. I'll just attempt to. There we go. Once you get through, you're going to take this and you're just going to lightly pull through. And I say lightly because you don't want it to rattle around, but you don't want it so thick that it won't move either. You want it kind of sort of somewhere in the middle. You want a little bit of air in there, but not too much. So that is actually too thick. Alright, so what happens? We're going to take and you don't want it too thin, so this is kind of a very delicate process to figure out exactly how much and all of this. So we're going to switch to the other side since I just took a bunch out. This whole piece isn't going to get used. It's going to get put in and then eventually cut down to fit what we need. There we go. Alright, so see how this is sliding just willy-nilly and loose? We're going to pull that, there we go, till it's a little bit more snug. Again, you don't want it to bounce around, but you don't want it to like just stop either. You don't want it too thick. You won't get air in there that won't really soak up the juice because the cotton's compacted too much. You want it loose, but not totally huge loose. Alright, so we're going to take some scissors, and on the one end we're going to, not right at the coil, but close, and we're just gonna snip that off there. Alright, and this is where these fun little tools, if you're using a syringe, you can use that to poke it in. Bad choice of words. Anyways, so go to just kind of wrap this underneath to start with, and then pull it through with this. You want to leave some room in there. You don't want it to take up too much space. And of course this is an immense amount of extra. Crap. So we're gonna cut that loose. Now I did leave more in here because what I'm gonna do is I'm going to back this out just a little bit and kind of tuck this and wrap it. Now it looks large and takes up a ton of space, which it does at the moment, but once I get it all juiced up, you'll see why. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to soak it and then retuck everything to get as much wicking material in there as I can. I want to obviously avoid dry hits because those taste nasty as hell. And as I'm doing this for the first time, you can kind of see I'm pushing the cotton around with the bottle as I'm putting the juice in. Okay. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to just tuck and compact this under, and I'm going to shove this right in here between the coil and the wick and create a bit of an air pocket right underneath it. I want to make sure you get all the airflow that it could possibly need. Get in there. To keep things from overheating and just generally being bad juju. And there's a little bit of space back here. I'm going to tuck this back here. It'll also help with keep it from overfilling. The more back here as it gets wicked out, this will really help draw it in. So it's kind of a weird setup anyways, but we're going to go ahead and test this out. Alright, and we're getting our awesome thread shooting out, which is kind of what you're looking for. So we're going to take our air cap here, and there's a nice long slit, and we're going to make sure that that is lined up directly on the coil, like so. And once again, okay. And I should have done this a long time ago. Obviously it's firing. Alright, it's reading 1.3 ohms. This specific box, and most box mods I believe have the ability to check resistance. And 1.3 is not bad. I was kind of shooting for a little bit lower than that. The box will actually not fire under 1 ohm in this case for this mod. And this cap here has 5 different air holes on it you can line up, and you can adjust how much air you get in it. You can either put it all lined up or just kind of like 1, 2 and close off some. I tend to go with about 3 lined up with 2 closed off, just to give a pretty decent amount of airflow through there. And of course, top cap here. And I don't vape at 15, so we're going to back that down just a hair and nice. Anyway, so there's the build, and hopefully it turns out okay, and I can edit this down to where it isn't too long. And hopefully you guys can actually see everything, because like I said, I couldn't see the screen. So let me know what you think in the comments, and yeah, thanks for watching my first build video, etc.